Welcome to the Indigenous Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today I have a very special guest. He's actually my husband, Alexander Becenti, with us. I interviewed him about a year ago about his photography business, and I wanted to have him on again to talk about some updates and what he's been up to, and also specifically to share some insight on some of the contracts that he's gotten and kind of that process and what he's learned through that. So thanks for coming on with me.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll just get started.
My name is Alexander Becenti. As stated before, I'm Cecilia's husband. I'm a Native American photographer here in Albuquerque. Yeah.
What's your business?
And my business is A1 Moments.
Yeah. So I think I had you on almost exactly a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago.
Yeah.
But can you tell us what you've been up to since then with the business?
Since then, it's been a lot of headshots, a lot of business-related photography sessions, and more so like events and stuff. But besides that, the bigger fish would have to be clients such as the City of Albuquerque. I've had a couple of contracts with them. And then I've had one outside entity from New York City that was contracting me to do some work. So
yeah. So I want to talk with you about those contracts, and like what the process was, how you got started. So I guess the first question that I want to ask you is, like, how did you even start contracting? Like, how did that happen? Like, did you actively approach them? Like, how did you get involved with contracting with the City of Albuquerque?
Honestly, it was, I'd have to say, it's like you find a lucky penny. It's like, by that I mean, one of the city reps had contacted me. And through that, it was more so through my business cards. So I would go to like coffee shops within the area and not set up, but put my business cards down and, hopefully get business that way. So, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you're always trying stuff that are new. And this coffee shop was pretty new. So no one was really, at the time, it wasn't as busy as it is now. But yeah, through all that, they had contacted me, and it was through email that they offered me a contract for a city event that they were doing in Albuquerque.
So they found your contact info at a coffee shop, and then someone reached out to you and asked you if you were interested in contracting, or kind of what did that conversation look like?
It was more so just, hey, you're a photographer. Would you be open to doing this event for us? And at the time, I didn't know who us was, and it happened to be the Office of Equity and Inclusion for Albuquerque.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So they approached you, and then what did you have to do, like, in order to work with them? Because I know there's specific steps that businesses have to take in order to contract with the city.
Yeah.
So, and you'd never done that before. So what was that process?
Honestly, it was stepping into a different world, I would have to say. And, setting up the business the way that we did, going how would you put, like, the right direction?
Well, officially registering.
Officially registering.
It made it easier for us.
Yeah.
Because we were already registered as an LLC.
Mhm.
We had an EIN number, so
Mhm.
we're able to just, because that's what we needed.
Yeah,
right?
it's so like I said, it's stepping into a new world. Didn't really know what to expect with bigger clients.
Like contract.
Like with the City of Albuquerque, it was something that was new, and luckily we had set up an EIN because that was what was needed for the W-9 that they had me fill out information for. So
Yeah. And I'm not sure if sole proprietors can fill that out too. They just use their social security number. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure like you need to have an EIN in order
Mhm.
to contract. And so
EIN or TIN,
okay.
one of the other.
Yeah. And so that's why I wanted to have you come on here to talk about that, because a situation that we run into a lot working with native-owned businesses, and not just native-owned businesses, but is the question of like, well, why should I officially incorporate? Like,
Yeah.
I'm good doing business the way I'm doing it. Like, what are the benefits of officially registering my business, getting that tax ID number, and this is one of the benefits, because working with the city has been some of the bigger contracts that you've gotten now.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about the doors that like that first? So you signed on to be a vendor with the city. I think you had to do that through an online portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go through an official city portal. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. And a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, we learned about gross receipts taxes and what we needed to do with that too. But they kind of walked you through some of that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I had some good people behind the other side of the screen that kind of helped me step by step through what needed to get done and what kind of forms they needed before I was able to actually do the work.
Yeah.
So,
and so once you were officially like registered as a vendor with the city, you started getting a couple more opportunities through that. Can you talk about those opportunities that signing on as a vendor, like this one opportunity led to some other things?
Yeah, the first job that they had me do was an eye opener for me, and it was also great exposure as to what kind of things I could be doing. And so through that first job, they how to put this, they referred me to another job that they had a couple months later. And that led to my second city contract. And then from there, it was the outside entity from New York City who was coming to Albuquerque for a conference. And they had hired me for another job. So I would say the first city contract opened a couple doors that I wasn't expecting to be there, but it definitely is one of those things where you don't know you're good at something until you start doing it.
Yeah. And it was like because you before this you were kind of just doing individual photo shoots and sales, and these contracts were like a bigger chunk of money that we were able to have come into the business, which was like, that's a big deal, you know, when you're starting off. And I think, just for the sake of people like to understand, I guess, the different steps of working with the city, like you have to register as a vendor, and then that puts you in the system. And at least from what I've observed, they reach out to you with different opportunities, and then you have to submit a bid, right? Like what your prices would be, and then so it's kind of like you're competing against whoever else is in their system and their network, and then they kind of decide who they want to work with.
Yeah.
So it is like a little bit of a competitive process, but I don't know, just putting yourself out there initially with the business cards and like, all the networking that you do, that kind of led to that first opportunity that then kind of had a ripple effect. And now you've had, I think, four contracts like associated with the city or.
Yeah, 4 since last year.
Yeah. And that's been a big deal for us.
Yeah, it's a couple victories there.
Yeah.
So
I joke, one of the contracts he made more money than I make in a month working 40 hours a week. So
yeah,
not that it's like all about the money, but like, I mean, when you're running a business, you need that income, and it's a big deal, being able to land contracts versus only doing like individual photo shoots.
Yeah. Still have to pay taxes though.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the one thing, but that's the right way to do it. That's the legitimate way to do it. I know a lot of businesses, especially if you're kind of doing it as a side hustle, you're like, I don't want to officially register, then I'm like, I have to pay taxes, I have to deal with the IRS. But there's like, if you want to grow your business and scale and get bigger contracts, that's the only way to go about it. And so, thanks for coming on here to like kind of share your story, because like I said, that's something that's come up a lot with the discovery we've done with the Tribal Entrepreneurship Enhancement Program. People who aren't registered have questions, and they're like, well, why? Like, what's the benefit to me? Especially if they're doing their business on tribal land where there's different like rules and regulations. They're like, why should I register and get an EIN number? So if you're wanting to scale, I would say, or if you're wanting to get different types of income aside from like one-on-one sales, that's one of many reasons why it's good to like officially register your business, even if it's just as a sole proprietorship, and get that EIN number. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any thoughts. It's just more so be just in awe of where I've come in the past year and where I'm going like in the future. We're still trying to structure how we go about doing business with bigger clients and smaller clients, but I mean overall I'm liking the trajectory of where we're headed.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty crazy. We got back from our honeymoon and things have just been speeding up. So
yeah. Do you have any like advice for people who are listening who maybe they haven't officially registered, or maybe they have registered and they have an EIN number, but they've never contracted with an entity like the City of Albuquerque? Do you have any advice for them if that's something they're wanting to do?
I would have one thing that did me justice was to ask a lot of questions. Because I mean, if you don't ask questions, you're not going to learn how to do 90% of what needs to get done. Being an entrepreneur is more so just asking questions. That way you can put your head down and get to work. It's not an easy life. I mean, one thing that we've kind of struggled with is how can we, what angle can we take to make more money and to keep it going. So it's been good thus far, but it's one thing that's always on my mind is like how can I take that next step to get those bigger clients? And with a lot of questions comes a lot of answers.
Yeah. And we're still like you said, figuring out how to differentiate our income streams. We're not at a point yet where we've been able to pay ourselves. Like everything we make is going back into the business. But like those contracts were really good, because you had a profit last year. It was a small profit, but it was a profit.
As a small business, a small profit is always a good victory overall. So.
And I had another question, but it's like I'm blanking on it right now. Just like, what else have you been up to aside from the contracts? Are there any other projects you're working on that you're excited about, or anything that you want to like update the audience on?
No, just doing me.
Yeah.
Doing photography, doing a lot of traveling and taking, photos. Just trying to find that, like stock photos is probably an avenue that I'm going to explore here in the future, and kind of see where that takes us as, we add another revenue stream and see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know until you try. So, take that first step and get it done. Prints as well.
Yeah, I've been pushing that.
Yeah. I want to start getting into like more like pop-up events.
Like the vending, actually selling your art versus just the photo shoots.
Yeah. And I think the Really Arts would be a good opportunity for like stuff like that, like being a vendor there, because they are local, like myself, and I feel like they would, just because you're also local, we'll give you more of a insider track.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, other than that, I've been published in a magazine. Some of my photos have gone into a local magazine here in Albuquerque, which is nice. It's like,
good marketing.
Yeah, it's good marketing for me, and people can see my talent, and I can get more exposure that way as well. So,
yeah. You also got 2 of your photos featured in, what was that art show? With the
I know, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
But I had 2 photos that were picked out of a pool of like 300 applicants, and the finalists are, what was it, the New Mexico Fine Arts Building at the Fairgrounds, Expo New Mexico. And so, we had a show, and like there were, 20, 30 photographers picked overall. But like 2 of my photos were featured in that collection. So it was,
that was cool.
Yeah, it's different exposure. You got to meet different people from different backgrounds and different photography styles. So it was nice to be picked among those people.
Yeah. And that was our first time actually like printing your photos.
Yeah.
So that was a learning experience.
It was a learning experience, but I really liked the quality of who we chose.
You want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, it's New Mexico Fine Arts Prints. They used to be NM Prints, but
any last words you wanna leave us with, a quote or anything?
No.
Not this time?
I got a book of quotes. Let's see. Alrighty. I got one. Every ounce of energy you invest in pursuing your goals will help you grow towards God's plan for you. Even if you end up somewhere you hadn't counted on. I can't promise you there won't be any curveballs in your life, but I'm positive But if you do the hard work and never quit and pick yourself up when things go sideways, good things will be waiting on the other side.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, just to wrap up, since we were talking about like officially registering your business and like getting an EIN number, I just wanted to highlight a few organizations that can help you do that if you haven't done so and if you want to do so. So the Small Business Development Centers can walk you through registering your business and getting an EIN number. There's also West New Mexico Community Capital specifically works with Indigenous-owned businesses, and they can, if you're just getting started, they can really help you get like everything in order. PTAC, which I think is now Apex, but they do government contracting. So if you're interested in like getting bigger government contracts, they help guide people through that. And then, of course, UNM Rainforest Innovations, we can point you to these resources. Our tribal liaisons are also able to help with some of that technical assistance. And then there was one other thing that I was going to mention, but again, it left me. But if I remember, I'll leave those links in the comment section. But we're basically just here for you, and those resources are available, and I'll link everything in the description so that you can access those resource providers to help you grow your business. All right. Well, thanks for coming on with me.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I always have fun coming here.
Okay. Oh, it was the MBDA. That's the other one. They've helped you out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, MBDA. I'll link them too. All right.